I want to share with you a secret so deep, so transformative, that if you truly grasp it, your entire approach to life will never be the same again. This isn't just a theory. It's the cornerstone of why some people manifest quickly while others feel stuck for years. Many of you have asked, why do my dreams take so long to appear? Why isn't the universe responding fast enough? Tonight we're going to uncover the real reason behind delayed manifestations and, more importantly, how to shift into a reality where your desires show up faster than you ever imagined. Let's begin with a truth often overlooked. In the Gospel of John we read, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Now ask yourself, what is this Word? It's not the sound coming out of your mouth. It's not speech in the physical sense. The Word is your inner monologue. It's the non-stop stream of thoughts, the mental chatter you entertain from the moment you open your eyes until you drift off to sleep. You may not realize this, but your world is shaped entirely by this inner dialogue. I'm not saying a few things. I'm saying everything. Your reality is a direct reflection of the conversations you hold with yourself in silence. When you truly awaken to this, your ability to manifest will feel almost supernatural to others. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this truth. Just last week, a woman approached me after a session, tears in her eyes. For 3 long years, she had tried to reconnect with her estranged son. She'd done it all. Affirmations, visualizations, even made long journeys to find him. But every effort failed. He wanted no contact. After attending one of my teachings, she had an epiphany. She realized her inner dialogue was filled with sadness and guilt. Why won't he speak to me? What did I do wrong? Will he ever forgive me? That was her internal narrative, over and over again. And that's exactly why nothing had changed. I gently guided her to shift that dialogue. I asked her to feel and repeat, "It's so beautiful talking to my son again. His voice is filled with love." That night she did. She persisted in it for a week. And on the 7th day, her phone rang. It was her son. Not only did he call, but he apologized. And he wanted to rebuild their bond. That, my friends, is not a coincidence. That is the power of inner speech, aligning with the reality she desired. When your internal talk mirrors your ideal state, without opposing it, life has no choice but to bring it to you. Let's go further. In the Gospel of Matthew, we find this truth. Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Your treasure is not the goal. It's not the thing you want. Your real treasure is the inner dialogue surrounding it. You could say you want to be financially free, but if your inner chatter sounds like, "I can't afford this," or "there's never enough," then that's where your energy lives. That's the treasure your heart clings to. And that's what life keeps serving you. The speed at which you manifest is directly tied to how consistently your inner talk aligns with your desire. The moment your inner dialogue stops doubting, stops contradicting, and starts affirming the truth of what you already have, things begin to move rapidly. Some of you might say, "I try to think positively, but my thoughts rebel." This is where most people fall short. They attempt to force new thoughts with willpower, trying to control every mental word. But this isn't sustainable. The secret isn't in controlling, it's in assuming. When you assume a new state of being, its inner conversation flows naturally. You don't have to make yourself think wealthy thoughts. When you truly feel wealthy, those thoughts emerge on their own, because the state gives birth to them. Here's how you make it real. Tonight before sleep, don't force anything. Don't chant, don't repeat. Simply listen. Observe what you are saying silently about your life, your relationships, your health, your finances. That quiet inner voice, That's the script creating your life. And what you'll find is startling. The script you hear is a perfect reflection of what's showing up in your reality. That's why affirmations alone fail. You can say, I am rich 100 times a day, but if your inner speech says otherwise, nothing will shift. So what's the key? Change the script. Not by force, but by faith. Step into the version of yourself that already has what you desire. When you do this, new inner conversations arise. Effortlessly, understand this. It's not just about the words. It's about the energy behind those words. Inner dialogue comes alive when it's soaked in emotion. You can't fake it. You must become it. Take, for instance, a woman longing for marriage. She might say affirmations like, I am happily married, but inside she's lonely. She questions whether love will ever come. That feeling undermines the affirmation. But if she assumes the state of already being married in her heart, suddenly her inner world changes. Her thoughts become, I love how he surprises me, or cooking together is the highlight of my day. That's not imagination anymore. That's embodiment. And that's when life begins to reflect it. One more truth before we close. In the book of Revelation, it says, I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. That isn't talking about someone far away in the sky. It's describing your own I am, your own conscious power. Every time you think, I am struggling, I am trying, I am waiting, you're not just describing your condition, you're declaring your creative command. You are becoming those states. To manifest fast, your internal language must reflect the end result, not the process. Say, I am successful. Say, I am in love. Say, I am at peace. And mean it, not as hope, but as truth. But I will caution you, don't become obsessed with tracking every little thought. That creates stress. This journey is not about control. It's about surrendering into the feeling of the reality you want until it becomes natural. And now, instead of forcing your mind to control every thought, I encourage you to do something far more natural. Simply assume the feeling of your wish already fulfilled, and then allow the inner conversation of that fulfilled state to emerge effortlessly. Let me now take you even deeper into the mystery of rapid manifestation. In the book of Job, there's a haunting but powerful line. What I feared has come upon me. What I dreaded has happened to me. This isn't just ancient wisdom, it's a blueprint. It tells us something incredibly precise, that your fears are not passive thoughts floating in your mind. They are active, creative conversations. They are inner declarations that take shape in the world around you. This is why I say to you, guard your inner talk, not from others, not from outside opinions, but from the silent fears you repeat within yourself. People around you may speak of downturns, failures, hard times. They may tell you it's impossible. But their words have no authority in your world unless you invite them into your inner speech. Unless you agree with them internally, they are powerless in your reality. The true creative force is your own inner monologue. Let me share a powerful example. A man once came to one of my events in New York. He was a businessman, and his entire industry was bracing for a massive downturn. Experts warned of collapse. Companies were shrinking. Layoffs were everywhere. But this man understood something deeper. While others spoke of crisis, he spoke only of opportunity. To himself, his inner talk, my business is booming. I attract clients easily. Every day brings fresh growth. Others around him laughed. called him unrealistic. But 3 months later, his company reported the most profitable quarter in its history. Not by chance, not by luck, but by law. The law of inner conversation. His mindset created a vibration that the outer world had to reflect. The world around him simply mirrored his persistent state of being. Now here's something even more transformative. Your inner dialogue must not just match your desire. It must speak beyond time. Most people keep their dreams out of reach by speaking in future terms. I will succeed. I will find love. It's coming. Sounds positive, doesn't it? But that kind of language pushes the manifestation into the distance. Always coming, but never arriving. You must shift your speech from "it will be" to "it already is." That's the difference between waiting and receiving. In Isaiah, it is written, "Before they call, I will answer." This doesn't refer to a delayed reply from heaven. This is the law of consciousness. The answer is already within you. The moment you speak, from the end, not toward it. Let's say you seek financial abundance. Your inner words should not be, "wealth is coming," or "money is on the way." Those are still rooted in the absence of what you want. Instead, you speak from the state already claimed. I love having more than enough. I enjoy the freedom wealth brings. It feels amazing to choose without checking the price. Now, some of you might object. But isn't that lying to myself? No, it's not lying. It's reality in formation. What you call reality is just a mirror, a reflection of what you've been saying inside yourself, sometimes for years. And as it is written in Hebrews, through faith we understand the worlds were framed by the word. Substitute word for inner conversation and you see it clearly. Your world, everything you see, was shaped by what you've been whispering inside yourself. Let me show you another living example of this. A young teacher reached out to me in distress. She had been assigned the most difficult class in her school, students known for being chaotic and disrespectful. Her inner speech was full of dread. They'll never listen. This class is going to break me. I encouraged her to change the story she told herself. She began repeating, "My students are eager to learn. We enjoy each lesson. I love the connection I have with this class." Even when her outer experience remained unchanged, she persisted, and within just 2 weeks, subtle changes began. Students who were once disruptive started to raise their hands. Tension in the room softened. And soon her classroom transformed so visibly that other teachers asked her how she did it. They called it teaching magic. But it wasn't magic. It was the natural unfolding of changed inner speech. There's more. Your inner dialogue doesn't just shape your circumstances. It shapes people in your world too. This is why Scripture teaches us, bless those who curse you, love your enemies. These aren't merely spiritual rules, they are metaphysical instructions. When you think negatively about someone, even in silence, you reinforce that behavior in your reality. You don't change them, you solidify them. But when you change the way you speak about them inside yourself, you create a new pattern they must respond to. A woman once wrote to me about her mother-in-law. Their relationship had been cold and hostile for years. Her internal speech was full of pain. She'll never accept me. She always puts me down. I guided her to shift the conversation. She's becoming more loving. We share joyful moments together. She kept this up, even when reality showed no sign of change. But within a month, everything began to shift. A compliment here, a kind gesture there, and eventually they built a relationship that brought the entire family to tears. She didn't change her mother-in-law, she changed her conversation about her. Now let me leave you with something even deeper. In Ecclesiastes we read, "To everything there is a season." People take this to mean they must wait, that some divine timing must unfold. But what if I told you time itself is born from your inner speech? When your conversation is full of "someday, almost, I'm getting there," you create distance. You put your dreams on layaway. People stay in the loop of becoming because they never speak from being. "I'm healing. I'm progressing. It's getting better." These statements seem empowering, but they keep your desire just beyond your reach. Creation doesn't happen in the future, it happens in the now. In imagination, there is no clock, there is no calendar. There is only I am. The Bible says God is not "I will be," God is "I am." So speak as if you are, not as if you're getting there. A man came to me after years of financial strain. His inner talk was full of transition. Things are improving. I'm getting there. The debts are slowly clearing. I told him plainly, that's why you're stuck in a slow climb. You're always preparing, never arriving. He shifted his inner conversation to, I love the abundance I live in. Every need is already met. Within days, he received unexpected payments. A surprise investment matured, and a business offer opened doors he hadn't imagined. People called it luck, but we know it wasn't. It was law. And here's one final truth you must remember. Emotion gives life to your inner conversation. You cannot speak lifeless words and expect powerful results. Your speech must carry the feeling of the wish already fulfilled. As the Psalms say, delight yourself in the Lord, and he shall give you the desires of your heart. That delight, that emotional energy, is the spiritual force behind manifestation. So tonight, don't just say new words, feel them, speak them as your truth. Not to make something happen, but because it already is. This is the secret, this is the power. When the feeling of the wish fulfilled is truly present, manifestation becomes immediate. Take, for example, a woman who deeply desires to be married. She may repeat affirmations like, I am married to a wonderful man, which sounds positive on the surface. But if her words carry no emotional truth, no sincere feeling, they remain empty. It's not the words that create, it's the feeling behind the words that calls reality into being. Once she actually steps into the experience of being a cherished wife, her inner talk begins to transform. She doesn't force new statements, they arise naturally. I love cooking with my husband. Our evening walks mean the world to me. I feel so blessed to live life with my soulmate. These words don't come from trying, they come from being. They carry the emotional tone of a fulfilled state, and that is what creates quickly. Now let me share something even more transformative. Your inner speech is not limited to your waking hours. The thoughts and inner dialogue you drift off with at night are incredibly potent. This is why the Psalms instruct, meditate in your heart upon your bed and be still. Most people fall asleep mentally replaying the stress of their day or forecasting worries about tomorrow. Their final conversation before sleep is wrapped in fear, anxiety, or dissatisfaction, planting the seeds for more of the same. But imagine instead that as you fall asleep, your internal words echo your dream life already realized. Not rehearsed, not scripted, but flowing freely from a place of calm certainty and joy. There was a man I once advised who had been striving for a promotion at work for years. Every night his mind raced with thoughts about how to get ahead, whom to impress, what strategies to follow. His sleep was dominated by seeking, never having. I guided him to change that nightly conversation. Rather than planning, he began drifting off with thoughts like, I love leading my department. I enjoy the responsibilities of my new role. My team is excellent, and I thrive in this position. Within 2 weeks, not only did he receive the promotion, but he was given greater influence and higher compensation than he ever anticipated. Here's where many people falter. When circumstances seem to contradict the desire, they allow the outer world to shape their inner world. But that is not how this works. In the book of Romans it says, call things that are not as though they are. This isn't optimism. This is law. Your internal words must declare your desired reality as true even when outer evidence says otherwise. A woman once reached out to me while facing a serious health battle. Despite painful symptoms and discouraging medical reports, she chose not to speak from sickness. Her internal speech became, I am strong and vibrant. Every cell in my body is aligned with health. I radiate well-being. Her transformation stunned even her doctors. What reversed her condition wasn't mere medicine. It was a change in the script she repeated within. And now, a vital part of this law, protect your inner conversation from the noise of others. When people insist something is impossible, when they point to facts or limitations, remember this: their beliefs have no power unless you let them in. As it's written in Proverbs, guard your heart with all diligence, for from it flow the issues of life. Your heart, your consciousness is your sacred space. And the moment you allow outside opinions to alter your inner narrative, you surrender your creative authority. Let me tell you about a young artist. Gallery after gallery rejected her work. Critics dismissed her completely. Her family urged her to give up and get a real job, but she held her vision. She didn't let their voices become her inner speech. Instead, she repeated to herself, my art moves people. Collectors seek out my work. My exhibitions always succeed. She once told me it felt like standing alone in a storm, but she stood firm. Within months, a gallery owner stumbled upon her art and offered her a solo show. Today, her work is celebrated. The very critics who once ignored her now praise her originality. What changed? Not her skill. It was her inner speech that transformed her world. Now here's something subtle but critical. Your inner conversation must remain loyal to the state you've claimed. If you've assumed wealth, but your thoughts are still dominated by budgeting, cutting back, and scarcity, you're divided. You're speaking as both the rich and the poor. This inner conflict slows everything down. The book of James says, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. This doesn't mean you must never doubt. It means you must not speak from two realities at once. You cannot be both sick and healed, both lonely and loved, both broke and rich. Choose the state and be faithful to it with your thoughts. Every moment of your day presents an opportunity. When you're shopping, what do you say to yourself? Are you weighing the cost or enjoying the experience? When you eat out, is your inner voice focused on prices or the pleasure of the meal? These moments may seem small, but each one is a fork in the road. Every internal word either affirms your state or contradicts it. There's no such thing as a neutral thought. Let me leave you with one final truth that will shift everything. Your inner conversation is not merely about words. It is the state of being from which those words arise. When you fully enter a state, when you embody the version of yourself who already has what you desire, you don't have to think positive. The conversation of that state flows without effort. It becomes your default language. That is the key to rapid manifestation. Not forcing, not scripting, but assuming and then letting the truth of that assumption express itself naturally through your thoughts, feelings, and words. Because once your inner conversation is faithful to the end you've claimed, life must obey. This is why constantly trying to monitor every single thought is not only unnecessary, it actually works against you. You're not meant to wrestle with each thought. You're meant to live from the end. Once you fully occupy the state of your fulfilled desire, the inner dialogue that aligns with it begins to flow naturally. This is what the scripture means when it says, "Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus." It's not referring to a moment of effortful thinking. It speaks of fully stepping into a consciousness, embracing the identity, the vibration, the mental atmosphere of the one who already possesses the thing longed for. From that place, your thoughts don't need to be controlled. They align by nature. There was a man I knew who struggled in love. For years, he tried repeating affirmations about romantic success. He worked hard to think positively, but it felt hollow, unnatural. He couldn't force the change because his thoughts didn't match his emotional state. Then he learned this truth. Instead of trying to push new thoughts into his mind, he chose to assume the feeling of being in a joyful, stable marriage. Not intellectually, emotionally. And from that point forward, his thoughts began to shift on their own. The language in his mind changed, not because he forced it, but because he had changed his state. He started to think, feel, and speak like a man already deeply loved. And within months, without strain, he met a woman who mirrored the love he had finally given to himself. They married shortly after. But listen carefully, the real miracle wasn't the marriage. The true miracle was the transformation in his self-concept. The outer relationship simply formed around the inner shift. The world always rearranges itself around the version of you that you believe in most. As we come to the end of this message, let me offer you one last truth that can reset your entire life. Your inner dialogue is constantly sculpting your self-concept, and your self-concept in turn is determining the outcomes you experience in your world. If you believe yourself to be overlooked, rejected, or lacking, then your internal conversation will reflect that, and the world will respond in kind. But when you choose a new self-concept, one of value, love, abundance, power, your internal voice begins to echo that reality, and the world must comply. When you truly understand this, you'll stop being ruled by appearances. You will no longer fear situations, conditions, or the judgments of others. Because you'll know the secret that your inner conversation is the only true creative force. And from that place of knowing, you will begin to speak to yourself with intention, clarity, and reverence. So tonight, don't wait for a sign. Don't wait for confidence or confirmation. Start immediately. Begin by listening. Just listen to the way you talk to yourself in silence. And then gently shift that voice, not by force, but by feeling. Let the tone of your inner world match the joy of the dream already fulfilled. Let the version of you who already has what they want begin to speak. Because the truth is, what I've shared with you is not new. It's timeless, as ancient as awareness itself. But its power is still as alive today as it was in the beginning. You don't need anything more. You already hold the key. Your inner conversation is forming your future in this very moment. So use it with care, use it with intention, use it with love. Because at the end of the day, there is no one else to change, only the self. And self is transformed by the silent voice it listens to the most. That world out there, the one that looks so solid and fixed, is nothing but a shadow of your inner world, a reflection of your inner dialogue. Change the story you're telling yourself, and everything you see will begin to shift. So now go, but not just with inspiration, go with power, go with decision, go with knowing. You've been entrusted with the most sacred creative tool in existence. Now prove it for yourself in the quiet of your own life. Let experience be your teacher. Let your reality be the evidence. As it is written, according to your faith, be it unto you. And remember, your faith is nothing but the story you keep telling yourself when no one else is listening. And that story will never fail you. That is the law, that is the promise. And now, it's yours. Have you ever paused to reflect on the weight you carry each day? The silent burden of expectations, the relentless pursuit of goals, the endless quest to control outcomes, it all accumulates like a storm within the soul. And in the quiet moments when the world stops demanding, do you feel the ache of something deeper, the longing for peace, for rest, for assurance that all is well? If you have felt this, then you are not alone. We have all walked this path, caught between the desire to achieve and the yearning to trust, between the need to control and the call to let go. What if I told you that the struggle you feel is not the natural state of your being? That the universe in all its majesty and infinite wisdom never intended for you to fight so fiercely against its flow. You were created to thrive, to live abundantly, to embrace the ease of a life aligned with divine order. And yet we often find ourselves trapped in a cycle of worry, fear, and resistance, as though our destiny depends solely on our relentless striving. But here lies the beautiful paradox: the very life you seek is waiting for you on the other side of surrender. Close your eyes for a moment and picture this: a river flowing gently through a lush, green valley. Its waters are clear and calm, moving effortlessly toward their destination. The river does not resist the bends in its path or the rocks in its way. It simply flows, trusting that its course is guided by a force greater than itself. Now imagine that you are the river. What would your life look like if you stopped fighting the current and trusted the journey instead? For so long I lived like many of you may be living now, gripping tightly to every plan, overthinking every decision, and fearing every unknown. I believed that success was a result of relentless effort and control, that if I loosened my grip, everything would fall apart. But in my quiet moments, I began to question this belief. Could it be that my need to control was the very thing holding me back? Could it be that my fear of the unknown was keeping me from the blessings that awaited just beyond the horizon? These questions led me to an undeniable truth: the universe is not chaotic, it is perfectly ordered. Every star in the sky, every wave in the ocean, and every breath you take is part of a divine symphony. This same intelligence that spins the planets in their orbits and turns the seasons in their time is also at work in your life. Do you trust it? Or have you allowed the noise of the world to drown out the gentle whispers of this truth? There is a sacred power in surrender, a power that defies logic yet transforms lives. To surrender is not to give up. It is to give in to a force that knows better, sees farther, and loves deeper than we ever could. It is to step out of the prison of fear and into the freedom of faith. Faith that the universe is working for you, not against you. Faith that every obstacle is a stepping stone, every delay a divine detour, and every unanswered prayer a blessing in disguise. But let me ask you, why is it so hard to trust? Why do we cling so desperately to control, even when it drains us of joy and peace? Perhaps it is because we have forgotten who we are. We see ourselves as separate from the divine, as mere mortals struggling against the tides of fate. Yet nothing could be further from the truth. You are not separate from the universe, you are a part of it. The same creative power that formed the galaxies dwells within you. And when you align with it, miracles become your natural state. Consider the lilies of the field. They do not toil or spin, yet they are adorned in a splendor greater than any king's. The birds of the air neither sow nor reap, yet they are provided for each day. If the universe so carefully tends to these, how much more will it care for you? To relax and trust the universe is not a passive act, it is an active expression of faith in this divine care. It is a declaration that you believe in a higher plan, even when the road ahead is unclear. Think about the peace that comes with trust. Imagine waking up each morning not with a heart full of anxiety, but with a soul anchored in the assurance that all is unfolding as it should. Picture yourself walking through life with a quiet confidence, knowing that every step you take is guided, every decision you make is supported, and every dream you hold is nurtured by the hands of the divine. Wouldn't that be freedom? Wouldn't that be the life you were created to live? The truth is, the universe does not require your struggle. It requires your cooperation. It asks not for your worry, but for your willingness. When you relax into its flow, you align yourself with a power that moves mountains, calms storms, and brings forth miracles. This is not just a poetic idea, it is a living reality available to you the moment you choose to trust. And so, I invite you to take a deep breath. Release the tension in your shoulders, the weight in your heart, and the doubts in your mind. With every exhale, let go of the need to control. And with every inhale, welcome the peace of surrender. This is how you begin the journey of relaxing and trusting the universe. Not by doing more, but by being more aligned, more open, and more faithful. When you learn to trust in this way, you will find that life does not simply happen to you, it happens for you. The challenges you face will no longer feel like burdens, but like blessings in disguise. The waiting will no longer feel like wasting, but like preparation. And the dreams that once seemed impossible will begin to unfold before your eyes, not because you forced them, but because you allowed them. So, are you ready to step into this freedom? Are you ready to trust the universe and let it guide you to the life you were meant to live? If so, then let us explore together the steps to relax and trust, for they hold the key to a life of peace, purpose, and profound joy. Write the perfect title for this speech one: Surrender to Divine Timing. There is a profound peace in understanding that everything in life happens at its appointed time. Yet how often do we find ourselves wrestling with impatience, frustrated that our desires seem out of reach, or doubting the promise of better days because they haven't yet materialized? The truth is, this impatience stems not from a lack of ambition, but from a lack of trust in the perfect timing of the Creator who governs all things. Consider this: the sun rises without fail each morning, but never a moment before its time. The stars illuminate the night sky, appearing precisely when the darkness calls them forth. Seasons change in their divine order: spring blossoms, summer thrives, autumn fades, and winter rests, all without our intervention. If the universe operates with such precision, can we not trust that our lives, too, are unfolding exactly as they should? The scriptures remind us, to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. These words are not merely poetic, they are a promise. They assure us that our lives are not random or chaotic, but are intricately woven into the divine tapestry of creation. Every delay, every detour, and every unanswered prayer is not a denial, but a part of a greater design that we may not yet comprehend. Imagine a farmer planting seeds in the soil. He does not anxiously dig them up each day to check their progress, nor does he despair when he sees no immediate sprout. Instead, he trusts the process, understanding that growth takes time. He knows that beneath the surface, invisible to the eye, the seed is breaking open, rooting itself deeply into the earth before it can rise toward the sun. What if we approached our dreams, our prayers, and our goals with the same faith? What if we believed that even in the silence, the Creator is at work, orchestrating everything for our good? Surrendering to divine timing does not mean abandoning your desires or resigning yourself to passivity. On the contrary, it requires active faith, a faith that continues to believe even when there is no visible evidence, a faith that says, I trust that what is meant for me will come to me, not a moment too soon or too late. This is not blind hope, it is the kind of trust that rests in the knowledge of a higher power's wisdom and love. Have you ever reflected on the beauty of hindsight? How often do we look back on our lives and realize that the things we once longed for, prayed for, or fought for came to us at the exact moment we were ready to receive them? Or that the things we thought we couldn't live without were withheld to make room for something far greater? These moments are not coincidences, they are reflections of divine timing at work. The difficulty, of course, lies in the waiting. Waiting tests our faith, stretches our patience, and humbles our hearts. It is in these moments of waiting that we must lean into the sacred practice of surrender. To surrender is to release the illusion of control and acknowledge that there is one who knows better, sees farther, and loves deeper than we can imagine. It is to say, not my will, but thine be done. This surrender does not come easily. Our human nature craves certainty and control, and the unknown can feel like a void too vast to navigate. But here is the paradox of surrender: the more we resist, the heavier our burdens become. Yet the moment we let go, we find a peace that surpasses all understanding. It is as if the weight we have been carrying was never ours to bear in the first place. Think of the story of Joseph in the Bible. Sold into slavery by his brothers, falsely accused and imprisoned, Joseph's life seemed to unravel at every turn. Yet through it all, he trusted in the divine plan. Years later, when he rose to power and saved nations from famine, it became clear that every hardship, every delay, and every setback had prepared him for his destiny. What if Joseph had given up in the waiting? What if he had let bitterness or despair consume him? This story reminds us that divine timing often requires us to endure seasons of uncertainty so that we may grow into the people we are meant to be. In our own lives, surrendering to divine timing might mean releasing the timelines we have imposed on ourselves. It might mean accepting that the relationship we long for, the career we aspire to, or the healing we seek will come not when we demand it, but when it is divinely appointed. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to our faith. It declares that we trust the Creator's plan more than our own. Let us also remember the words of Jesus: consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. Yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. The lilies do not strive or struggle, they simply grow in accordance with their design. In the same way, we are called to trust that the one who clothes the lilies and feeds the birds will also fulfill the promises made to us. As you reflect on your life, ask yourself, what am I holding on to too tightly? What timelines have I created that are causing me stress or anxiety? And most importantly, am I willing to release these things into the hands of the one who holds the stars in place? Surrendering to divine timing does not mean giving up on your dreams. It means entrusting them to the care of the universe, knowing that they will come to fruition in their season. When you align yourself with this truth, you will find a peace that no earthly achievement can provide. You will learn to rest in the knowledge that all things, yes, all things are working together for your good. 2. Cultivate inner stillness. In a world that moves at an unrelenting pace, filled with noise, distraction, and endless demands, the idea of cultivating inner stillness can feel almost foreign. Yet, it is in this stillness that we find the voice of the divine, the gentle guidance that leads us toward peace and purpose. Inner stillness is not merely the absence of noise. It is the presence of something far greater, a sacred connection to the Creator who speaks in whispers, not shouts. Consider this: when Elijah sought the voice of God, it was not in the mighty wind, nor the earthquake, nor the fire that he found it. It was in the still small voice. This moment teaches us a profound truth. The divine does not compete for our attention amidst the chaos. It waits for us to quiet our minds and open our hearts so that we may hear its gentle call. But how often do we allow ourselves to be still enough to hear it? Stillness is more than silence, it is an intentional pause, a conscious effort to step away from the noise of the world and enter the sanctuary of our inner being. It is a practice, a discipline, and a form of worship. Through stillness, we align the jaws with the rhythm of the universe, grounding our spirit in the assurance that we are never alone, never abandoned, and always held by the one who created us. Imagine a calm lake at dawn, its surface smooth and undisturbed, reflecting the heavens above. When the waters are still, they reveal the clarity of the sky, the beauty of the stars, and the majesty of the rising sun. But when the waters are restless, disturbed by the winds or our own hands, the reflection becomes distorted. In the same way, our inner being, our soul, reflects the wisdom and presence of the Creator most clearly when it is at rest. How then do we cultivate this inner stillness in a world so full of demands? The answer lies in creating intentional moments of quiet. These moments need not be grand or lengthy, they simply require your presence. A few minutes of silent reflection in the morning, a pause to pray or meditate during the day, or a moment of gratitude before sleep, all these practices invite stillness into our lives. Let us not forget that even Jesus, in the midst of his ministry, often withdrew to quiet places to pray. He who carried the weight of the world on his shoulders recognized the necessity of stillness. His example reminds us that no matter how busy or burdened we may feel, there is always time to pause and reconnect with the divine. But stillness is not only about retreating, it is also about listening. Too often our prayers are filled with requests and our minds with worries, leaving little room for the answers we seek. In stillness, we are reminded to be like Samuel, who, upon hearing the call of God, responded, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." To listen is an act of faith, a demonstration of trust that the Creator has something to say, something we need to hear. There is power in this practice of listening. It transforms our relationship with the divine from one of striving to one of communion. In the stillness, we begin to understand that the answers we seek are often already within us, placed there by the one who knows the desires of our hearts. The stillness is not empty, it is filled with the presence of God, who meets us in our quiet places. Let us also reflect on the example of Mary, who chose to sit at the feet of Jesus, while her sister Martha busied herself with tasks. When Martha complained, Jesus gently reminded her that Mary had chosen the better path, one that would not be taken from her. This story is a profound reminder that our worth is not found in our busyness, but in our ability to be present with the divine. Stillness also has the power to calm the storms within us. When Jesus and his disciples were caught in a storm at sea, the disciples were overcome with fear, forgetting who was in the boat with them. But Jesus stood and spoke, "Peace, be still," and the winds and waves obeyed. In our moments of inner turmoil, we too can hear these words, spoken not just to the storm but to our hearts, "Peace, be still." In the practice of stillness, we also confront the truth about ourselves. The distractions of the world often keep us from facing our fears, doubts, and insecurities. But in stillness, we are laid bare before the Creator, who sees us fully and loves us completely. This can be uncomfortable, even daunting, but it is also profoundly healing. For it is in these moments of vulnerability that we are reminded of our worth, our purpose, and our place in the grand design. Stillness, then, is not just a practice, it is a posture. It is a way of living that prioritizes connection over chaos, presence over performance, and faith over fear. It is a declaration that no matter what the world demands of us, we will not lose sight of the one who sustains us. So let us commit to cultivating this sacred stillness. Let us seek the quiet places where we can hear the voice of the divine, feel the peace that surpasses all understanding, and rest in the assurance that we are loved beyond measure. In doing so, we align ourselves with the Creator's plan, allowing His wisdom to guide us and His presence to strengthen us. In stillness, we are renewed, refreshed, and reminded of the truth that we are never alone. 3. Embrace gratitude. Gratitude is the language of the soul, the bridge that connects us to the divine. It is not merely an act of politeness or social expectation, it is a spiritual practice that shifts our focus from what we lack to the abundance that surrounds us. When we embrace gratitude, we align ourselves with the Creator's design, recognizing His hand in every blessing, both great and small. Gratitude transforms the way we see the world and deepens our trust in the unfolding of His plan. In a world that constantly urges us to chase after more, gratitude calls us to pause and reflect on what we already have. It is so easy to become consumed by the things we desire, to dwell on the unanswered prayers and unmet goals. But the scriptures remind us to give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you. Gratitude then is not conditional. It is not dependent on everything going our way. It is a deliberate choice to acknowledge the goodness of God even in the midst of uncertainty. When we embrace gratitude, we affirm that life itself is a gift. The breath in our lungs, the sun that rises each day, the relationships that bring us joy, none of these are owed to us. They are manifestations of divine grace, reminders of a Creator who delights in giving abundantly. Yet how often do we overlook these daily miracles? How often do we focus on what is missing rather than the countless blessings already in our hands? Consider the story of the Israelites in the wilderness. Despite being delivered from slavery and provided with manna from heaven, rumbled and longed for what they had left behind. Their lack of gratitude blinded them to the miracles unfolding before their very eyes. How often are we like them? How often do we fail to see the manna in our own lives because we are fixated on what we do not have? Gratitude is a spiritual discipline that requires us to see with new eyes. It invites us to look beyond our circumstances and recognize the fingerprints of the divine in every corner of ours. This perspective does not come naturally, it must be cultivated. And yet when we practice gratitude consistently, it changes us from the inside out. It softens our hearts, strengthens our faith, and fills us with a peace that transcends understanding. Think of the 10 lepers who were healed by Jesus. Only one returned to give thanks, and to him, Jesus said, "Your faith has made you whole." Wholeness comes not only from the blessing itself, but from our response to it. Gratitude completes the circle of grace, acknowledging the giver as much as the gift. When we embrace gratitude, we draw closer to the heart of God, for we recognize Him as the source of every good and perfect thing. Gratitude also has the power to transform our trials. It may seem counterintuitive, but even in our struggles, there is reason to give thanks. Every challenge, every delay, and every disappointment carries within it the seeds of growth and transformation. When we view our trials through the lens of gratitude, we begin to see them not as obstacles but as opportunities to strengthen our faith, refine our character, and draw closer to the Creator. This perspective is beautifully illustrated in the story of Job. Despite losing everything, Job declared, "The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." His gratitude was not rooted in his circumstances, but in his unwavering trust in God's sovereignty. Job's story reminds us that gratitude is not about denying our pain, but about trusting that even in the darkest moments, God is at work for our good. Gratitude is also a powerful antidote to fear and anxiety. When we focus on what we are grateful for, we shift our attention away from what we lack and toward what we have. This shift creates space for faith to grow. For when we see the abundance already present in our lives, we are reminded of God's faithfulness. If He has provided for us in the past, can we not trust Him to provide for us in the future? Practicing gratitude is a simple yet profound act. It begins with small, intentional moments of whispered prayer of thanks in the morning, a quiet reflection on the blessings of the day, or a written list of things for which you are grateful. These practices may seem modest, but they have the power to reshape our hearts and minds. They remind us that every good thing we experience is a gift from the Creator, a testament to His love and care. Gratitude is also contagious. When we live in a state of thankfulness, we inspire others to do the same. Our joy becomes a light in the darkness, a reflection of the divine grace that sustains us. In this way, gratitude not only blesses us but also blesses those around us, creating a ripple effect that spreads far beyond our own lives. Let us also consider the example of Jesus, who, before feeding the 5,000, gave thanks for the loaves and fishes. His gratitude preceded the miracle, showing us that thanksgiving is not just a response to blessing but a catalyst for it. When we embrace gratitude, we open the door for the Creator to work in and through us, multiplying our blessings in ways we cannot imagine. So, let us choose gratitude not as a fleeting emotion but as a way of life. Let us give thanks not only for what we can see, but also for what is yet to come. For in gratitude we find the strength to trust the Creator's plan, the peace to rest in His timing, and the joy to embrace each moment as a gift. Gratitude is not merely an act, it is a posture of the heart, one that draws us ever closer to the divine and fills our lives with meaning and purpose. 4. Let go of fear and doubt. Fear and doubt are two of the greatest barriers to trusting the universe and the divine plan for our lives. They whisper lies into our hearts, convincing us that we are alone, that we are unworthy, or that the path ahead is too uncertain. Yet these voices are not rooted in truth. They are illusions that cloud our vision and weaken our faith. To relax and trust the universe, we must learn to let go of fear and doubt, replacing them with courage and unwavering trust in the Creator's plan. The scriptures remind us repeatedly, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God." These words are not mere reassurance, they are a command and a promise. Fear may come naturally to us, but it is not part of our divine design. The Creator did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. When we let go of fear and doubt, we step into the fullness of this truth, aligning ourselves with the strength and peace that come from God. Consider the story of Peter walking on water. When Jesus called him out of the boat, Peter took those first steps with faith, his eyes fixed on the Lord. But the moment he allowed fear to creep in, he began to sink. This story is a powerful reminder that fear is not just a feeling, it is a choice to focus on the storm rather than the one who owns it. When we fix our eyes on the Creator and trust in His power, fear loses its grip, and we find the courage to walk on the waters of our own lives. But how do we let go of fear when it feels so real, so overwhelming? The first step is to acknowledge its presence. Fear thrives in secrecy, growing stronger when we ignore or suppress it. By bringing our fears into the light, we begin to rob them of their power. Speak your fears aloud in prayer, naming them one by one. As you do, remind yourself that there is no fear too great for the Creator to overcome. The act of naming your fears is an act of surrender, a declaration that you trust God to carry what you cannot. Letting go of doubt is equally important. Doubt, like fear, often stems from a lack of trust in the Creator's plan. It tempts us to question His timing, His methods, and even His presence. But doubt is not a sign of failure. It is a natural part of the human experience. Even the great figures of faith wrestled with doubt. When Thomas doubted the resurrection, Jesus did not rebuke him but invited him to touch his wounds and believe. This moment reminds us that doubt is not something to be ashamed of, but something to bring before the Creator, who meets us in our uncertainty and strengthens our faith. One of the most effective ways to let go of doubt is to reflect on the Creator's faithfulness in your past. Think of the times when you were afraid or unsure, and yet the way forward was made clear. Remember the prayers that were answered, the obstacles that were overcome, and the blessings that came in ways you could never have imagined. These memories are not just comforting, they are evidence of the Creator's unchanging nature. If He has been faithful before, He will be faithful again. Letting go of fear and doubt also requires us to guard our minds and hearts. The world is filled with messages that feed our insecurities and magnify our uncertainties. Social media, news, and even well-meaning people can plant seeds of fear and doubt if we are not careful. Instead, fill your mind with truth found in Scripture, in prayer, and in the quiet assurance of the divine presence. Meditate on verses like, "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" Let these words take root in your heart, displacing fear and doubt with faith and confidence. Prayer is another powerful tool for releasing fear and doubt. When we pray, we are not just speaking to the Creator, we are opening ourselves to His peace. Philippians reminds us, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." This peace is not something we manufacture. It is a gift that comes when we lay our burdens at the feet of the Creator and trust Him to carry them. Faith is the antidote to fear and doubt. It is the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen. Faith does not eliminate challenges, but it changes the way we face them. When we trust in the Creator's plan, we no longer see obstacles as insurmountable, we see them as opportunities for growth and transformation. We no longer fear the unknown, for we know that the one who holds the stars also holds our future. Let us also remember that we are not alone in this journey. The Creator has placed people in our lives to encourage us, to remind us of His promises, and to walk alongside us in times of doubt. Seek out those who will speak truth into your life, who will pray with you and for you, and who will help you keep your eyes fixed on the divine. Fear and doubt may never disappear entirely, but they do not have to define our lives. When we let go of these burdens, we make room for faith, peace, and the assurance that we are held in the hands of a loving Creator. As we release fear and doubt, we step into a life of freedom, trusting that the universe and the divine plan are always working for our good. 5. Visualize with faith, not force. Visualization is a powerful tool, a divine gift that allows us to see with the eyes of faith what has not yet come to pass. It is the language of creation, a way to align our thoughts, desires, and intentions with the infinite possibilities of the universe. Yet for many, visualization becomes a source of frustration because they approach it with force rather than faith. They try to will their desires into existence, forgetting that true manifestation is not a product of human effort but of divine alignment. The Scriptures remind us faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. This verse captures the essence of visualization. When we visualize with faith, we are not merely daydreaming or wishing, we are engaging in an act of spiritual creation. We are seeing in our minds and hearts what the Creator has already ordained for us, trusting that it will manifest in its appointed time. But visualization with faith requires a shift in perspective. It is not about striving or forcing outcomes. It is about surrendering to the divine flow and trusting that the universe is conspiring in our favor. Imagine a gardener planting seeds in the soil. He does not dig up the seeds every day to check their progress, nor does he shout at them to grow faster. Instead, he plants them with care, waters them with faith, and trusts that the process will unfold as it should. Visualization with faith works in much the same way. We plant the seeds of our desires in the fertile of our minds and hearts, nurture them with trust, and release them to the care of the Creator. This principle is beautifully illustrated in the story of Abram, who was promised descendants as numerous as the stars. Though he and Sarah were well past the age of childbearing, Abraham did not waver in his faith. Instead, he believed, visualizing the promise as though it were already fulfilled. His unwavering trust in the Creator's word allowed him to walk in alignment with the divine plan, even when the evidence before him suggested otherwise. Like Abraham, we too are called to hold our visions with faith, trusting in the promises of the Creator, even when the journey seems uncertain. To visualize with faith, we must first clarify our intentions. What is it that you truly desire? What dream has the Creator placed in your heart? Take time to reflect on these questions in prayer or quiet contemplation. As you do, allow your desires to align with the greater purpose for which you were created. When your intentions are rooted in love, service, and alignment with divine will, they carry a power that transcends human effort. Once your vision is clear, bring it to life in your mind's eye. Picture it vividly as though it has already come to pass. See yourself living the life you desire, not as a distant possibility but as a present reality. Feel the joy, peace, and fulfillment that accompany this vision. This act of visualization is not a mere exercise in imagination. It is a spiritual practice that activates your faith and aligns your energy with the divine flow. But here is where many falter. They visualize with force rather than faith. They hold their visions tightly, clinging to them with a sense of desperation or control. They set rigid timelines, demanding that their desires manifest on their terms rather than trusting in divine timing. This approach creates resistance, for it is rooted in fear rather than trust. True visualization requires us to hold our visions lightly, releasing them to the care of the Creator and trusting that they will manifest in the right way and at the right time. The story of Joseph offers a profound lesson in this regard. As a young man, Joseph had a vision of greatness, a dream in which he saw himself in a position of influence and authority. But the journey to that vision was anything but straightforward. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for a crime he did not commit, Joseph could have easily abandoned his dream. Yet he held on to it with faith, trusting that the Creator's plan was unfolding even in the midst of adversity. In the end, Joseph's vision was fulfilled in a way that not only blessed him but also saved countless lives. Another key to visualizing with faith is gratitude. When we give thanks for our visions as though they have already manifested, we align ourselves with the energy of abundance and trust. Gratitude is a declaration of faith, a way of saying, I trust that the Creator is working on my behalf, and I am already thankful for what is to come. This practice not only strengthens our faith, but also opens our hearts on to receive the blessings that are already present in our lives. Prayer and meditation are powerful tools to support your visualization practice. Use prayer to affirm your trust in the Creator's plan and to seek guidance in aligning your desires with divine will. Use meditation to quiet your mind, clear away doubt, and connect with the still, small voice within. In these moments of stillness, you may find that your vision becomes clearer, your faith stronger, and your trust deeper. Let us remember that visualization with faith is not passive. It requires us to take inspired action, to move toward our dreams with confidence and joy. The Creator often works through us, guiding our steps and opening doors that we could not have imagined. As the scriptures remind us, faith without works is dead. When we act in alignment with our visions, trusting in the Creator's guidance, we become co-creators in the divine plan. To visualize with faith, then, is to embrace a partnership with the Creator. It is to see with spiritual eyes, trust with an open heart, and act with unwavering confidence. It is to let go of control and allow the universe to work in its mysterious and miraculous ways. When we visualize with faith, we step into a life of trust, joy, and alignment, knowing that the Creator's plans for us are greater than anything we could ever imagine. Point 6. Take inspired action. Faith and trust in the divine are not passive states of being. They are catalysts for movement. When we relax and trust the universe, we do so not by sitting idly and waiting, but by taking inspired action in alignment with the Creator's plan. This action is not driven by fear or desperation, but by a sense of purpose and guidance. It is the outward expression of our inward trust, the evidence of our faith in the promises of the divine. The scriptures remind us faith without works is dead. This verse does not diminish the importance of faith. Rather, it emphasizes the partnership between faith and action. Trusting the Creator means believing that we are part of His plan, that our hands, our minds, and our efforts are instruments through which He works. Inspired action is not about striving to force outcomes, it is about moving forward with a heart aligned to the will of God and a spirit attuned to His guidance. But how do we discern what actions are inspired? The key lies in our connection to the divine. When we cultivate a relationship with the Creator through prayer, meditation, and reflection, we begin to hear the gentle nudges of the Spirit within us. These nudges may come as a thought, a feeling, or a sense of clarity about the next step we should take. They are not born of fear or anxiety, but of peace and assurance, a quiet knowing that we are being led. Consider the story of Noah, who was called by God to build an ark in preparation for a flood. The task was monumental, and the circumstances were incomprehensible. Yet Noah acted in obedience to the divine instruction. He did not wait for the rain to fall to begin his work. He trusted the Creator's guidance and took inspired action long before the storm arrived. His faith, coupled with his action, became the means by which he and his family were saved. Noah's story reminds us that inspired action often requires us to move forward even when we do not fully understand the path ahead. Taking inspired action also requires us to let go of fear and doubt. When Moses stood before the Red Sea with Pharaoh's army closing in behind him, it would have been easy to succumb to panic. Yet at the command of God, Moses lifted his staff, parting the waters and creating a way where there was none. This act of faith and obedience demonstrates that inspired action is not about having all the answers. It is about trusting the one who does. It is about stepping out in faith, even when the way forward is unclear, believing that the Creator will make a path where there seems to be none. Inspired action is always aligned with the values of the Creator: love, service, and integrity. It is not driven by selfish ambition or the desire for control, but by a desire to fulfill our purpose and contribute to the greater good. This alignment ensures that our actions are not only effective but also meaningful. When we act in accordance with divine principles, we become co-creators with the universe, channels through which the Creator's will is done on earth. Think of David, who faced Goliath with nothing but a sling and a few stones. His actions were not reckless or impulsive. They were inspired by his unwavering faith in God. David understood that his strength did not come from his own abilities, but from the power of the Creator working through him. His victory was not just a testament to his courage, but a demonstration of what happens when we take inspired action in alignment with divine will. Another important aspect of inspired action is timing. While faith calls us to move, it also teaches us to wait for the right moment. Acting prematurely or out of impatience can lead to unnecessary struggles. Inspired action is always guided by divine timing, a rhythm that we can sense when we remain connected to the Creator. Like Esther, who waited for the perfect moment to speak to the king and save her people, we must learn to trust that the right opportunity will present itself when we are ready and the time is right. To take inspired action, we must also be willing to step outside our comfort zones. The Creator often calls us to places of growth, places that stretch our faith and deepen our trust. Abraham's journey to the promised land required him to leave behind all that was familiar, to walk into the unknown with only God's promise to guide him. This willingness to act despite uncertainty is a hallmark of inspired action. It demonstrates our belief that the Creator's plans for us are good and that He will equip us for every step of the journey. Prayer is an essential part of taking inspired action. Before we move, we must seek the Creator's guidance, asking for clarity, wisdom, and strength. Prayer aligns our hearts with the will of God, ensuring that our actions are not driven by ego or fear, but by faith and love. In moments of uncertainty, prayer serves as a compass, pointing us toward the next step we should take. Let us also remember the words of Jesus: ask, and it will be given to you; seek, and you will find; knock, and the door will be opened to you. These actions, asking, seeking, knocking, are all forms of inspired action. They require us to engage with the world, to pursue our dreams, and to take steps toward the life we desire, all while trusting that the Creator is guiding our efforts. Inspired action is not about doing more, it is about doing what matters. It is about aligning our actions with the divine, trusting that as we move forward in faith, the universe will move with us. When we take inspired action, we become active participants in the Creator's plan, living lives that are not only purposeful, but also deeply fulfilling. Through inspired action, we express our trust in the universe and our faith in the one who holds it all together. 7. Recognize the signs. The Creator is constantly communicating with us, guiding us, and offering reassurance that we are on the right path. Yet how often do we overlook these signs, dismissing them as coincidence or random occurrences? Recognizing the signs from the universe is not merely an act of observation, it is a practice of spiritual awareness, a willingness to tune into the subtle ways in which the divine speaks to us. The scriptures remind us the heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of His hands. From the rising of the sun to the intricate patterns of a snowflake, the natural world is filled with signs of the Creator's presence and care. These signs are not limited to grand, miraculous events. They often appear in the quiet moments, in the small details of our daily lives. A kind word from a stranger, an unexpected opportunity, a sudden sense of peace, each of these can be a whisper from the divine, guiding us toward our purpose. Recognizing the signs requires a heart that is open and attuned to the divine. It is not about seeking signs out of desperation, but about being present and receptive to the ways in which the Creator reveals Himself. Just as a shepherd recognizes the voice of his sheep, we too must cultivate a relationship with the Creator that allows us to discern His voice amidst the noise of the world. Consider the story of the Magi who followed a star to find the Christ child. They recognized the star as a divine sign, a guide that would lead them to their destiny. Yet following the star required faith, patience, and perseverance. It required them to trust in something they could not fully understand. Their journey reminds us that signs are not always accompanied by immediate clarity. Sometimes they call us to step forward in faith, trusting that the way will become clear as we walk it. To recognize the signs, we must first quiet the distractions of our minds and the chaos of the world. The Creator often speaks in whispers, and it is in the stillness that we hear Him most clearly. This is why prayer and meditation are essential practices for recognizing signs. They create a space of silence and surrender where we can tune into the divine and become more aware of His guidance. One of the most profound ways the Creator communicates with us is through the people around us. A friend's encouragement, a mentor's wisdom, or even a stranger's act of kindness can be a sign that we are being guided and supported. These moments are not random, they are divinely orchestrated reminders that we are never alone. When we approach our relationships with gratitude and openness, we become more attuned to the ways in which the Creator uses others to speak to us. The scriptures are another powerful source of signs and guidance. Often the answers we seek are already written in the Word, waiting for us to discover them. Reflecting on the stories of faith, perseverance, and divine intervention can illuminate our own paths and provide clarity in moments of doubt. The psalmist writes, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." This verse reminds us that the Creator's word is not just a source of comfort, but a guide that helps us navigate the complexities of life. Recognizing the signs also involves paying attention to our inner knowing, the intuition that comes from the Spirit within us. This inner voice is not driven by fear or doubt, but by peace and confidence. When we feel a sense of clarity or a deep conviction about a decision, it is often a sign that the Creator is guiding us from within. Trusting this inner knowing requires us to stay connected to the divine, to pray for discernment, and to act with faith when the path becomes clear. Nature is another profound source of signs. The Creator's fingerprints are visible in every sunrise, every tree, and every ripple of water. The changing seasons remind us of the rhythm of life, the cycles of growth, rest, and renewal. A rainbow after a storm, a gentle breeze on a hot day, or the song of a bird can serve as reminders of the Creator's presence and promises. These signs are not just beautiful, they are sacred, calling us to pause, reflect, and reconnect with the divine. Sometimes signs come in the form of obstacles or challenges. While it may seem counterintuitive, these moments can be powerful indicators that the Creator is redirecting us or teaching us something essential. Joseph's journey from the pit to the palace was marked by setbacks and trials. Yet each step was part of the divine plan that ultimately led to his purpose. Recognizing signs in the midst of struggle requires us to trust that the Creator's plans are always for our good, even when the path is difficult. Dreams are another way in which the Creator communicates with us. Throughout the scriptures, we see examples of divine messages delivered through dreams: Joseph's dreams of his future, Daniel's interpretations of visions, and the angel's message to Joseph, the earthly father of Jesus. While not every dream carries a profound message, being open to the possibility allows us to discern when the Creator is speaking to us in this way. Recognizing the signs is also about gratitude. When we approach life with a spirit of thankfulness, we become more aware of the blessings and guidance that surround us. Gratitude shifts our focus from what is lacking to what is present, opening our eyes to the ways in which the Creator is already at work in our lives. Recognizing the signs is about trust. It is about believing that the Creator is always communicating with us, always guiding us, and always working for our good. It is about letting go of the need for certainty and embracing the mystery of the divine, knowing that His ways are higher than our ways and His thoughts higher than our thoughts. When we open our hearts to the signs around us, we step into a deeper relationship with the Creator, one that fills our lives with meaning, purpose, and peace. As we draw this journey to a close, let us pause and reflect on the wisdom that the Creator has woven into our hearts today. The art of relaxing and trusting the universe is not about relinquishing responsibility or abandoning effort. It is about aligning ourselves with the divine rhythm of life, a rhythm that has been set in motion since the beginning of time. It is about recognizing that we are not alone, that we are deeply connected to a loving Creator who holds all things in His hands, including our futures. We began by surrendering to divine timing, understanding that every season has its purpose, every delay its lesson. Like a seed planted in fertile soil, we trust the process, knowing that growth and fulfillment come not when we demand it, but when the time is right. We cultivated inner stillness, creating space for the whispers of the divine to guide us, and embraced gratitude as a transformative practice that aligns us with abundance and peace. Through letting go of fear and doubt, we declared our faith in a Creator whose love and power transcend our understanding. We learned to visualize with faith, not force, anchoring our desires in trust and surrender. Inspired action reminded us that faith is not passive but an active partnership with the universe, moving forward in alignment with divine purpose. Finally, we opened our hearts to recognize the signs, those sacred moments of guidance that reassure us we are always being led. These principles are not isolated ideas, they are threads in a tapestry of trust, faith, and divine connection. When woven together, they create a life that is not only purposeful, but also deeply fulfilling. A life that reflects the Creator's love and intention for each of us. They remind us that we are not here to struggle against the currents of life, but to flow with them, trusting that the one who set the stars in their places is also orchestrating every detail of our journey. As we step away from this moment, I encourage you to carry these truths with you, not as fleeting thoughts, but as guiding principles. Let them shape the way you see the world, the way you interact with others, and the way you approach the challenges and opportunities before you. Trust in the Creator's plan, not just in the moments of clarity, but also in the moments of uncertainty. Rest in the assurance that you are loved, guided, and held by a power far greater than yourself. In closing, let me leave you with this: the universe, in its vastness and beauty, is a reflection of the Creator's infinite care and creativity. You are a part of that creation, uniquely designed and deeply cherished. Trust the process, embrace the journey, and know that every step you take is leading you closer to the life you were created to live. The Creator's plans for you are good, and His timing is perfect. Relax, trust, and let the universe work its wonders through you. Go forward in peace, knowing that you are never alone. Have you ever experienced a moment when you felt as though time stood still? As though the world itself had paused to whisper something sacred into your soul? A moment so profound that it seemed to shift the very ground beneath your feet, altering not just how you saw the world but how you saw yourself. What if I told you that such a moment can happen in a single day, a day when 7 timeless principles unlocked a door within me that I never knew existed? I want you to imagine waking up to a morning that feels no different than any other. The sun rises in its usual brilliance, the world hums with its familiar rhythm, and yet somewhere deep inside you feel a yearning, a silent call for something greater, something deeper. It's not that your life is in shambles, perhaps, like mine. It feels stuck, as though you're walking in circles, carrying questions that seem to have no answers. That's where I was, not lost, but not entirely found. The pieces of my life were scattered, like a puzzle waiting to be completed. I had dreams, aspirations, and a longing for purpose, but they felt distant, like stars I could see but not touch. And then, on what seemed to be an ordinary day, everything changed. Do you believe that transformation can happen in an instant? That the clarity you've sought for years could suddenly unfold before you, revealing a path you hadn't seen before? That's exactly what happened to me. Not through chance, but through the discovery of 7 principles so profound, so divinely aligned that they reshaped my reality in ways I could never have imagined. But before I share these principles with you, let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly believed in the miraculous? When was the last time you paused long enough to consider that the answers you've been seeking might already be within you, waiting to be revealed? What if the shift you've been waiting for doesn't come from the outside but from within? The day my life changed, I wasn't looking for answers, I was seeking alignment. I was tired of striving, of pushing against the currents of life, and I was ready to surrender to something greater. In that surrender, the principles came to me not as thunderous revelations but as gentle truths, each one illuminating a part of the path I was meant to walk. They didn't demand effort or struggle, they required only one thing: my willingness to believe. Faith is a powerful thing, isn't it? It's not just a word or a feeling. It's a bridge that connects the seen and the unseen, the known and the unknown. And it was faith that allowed me to step into the truths these principles revealed. It was faith that quieted the doubts that had long clouded my vision and gave me the courage to trust in what I could not yet see. As I embraced these principles, something extraordinary happened. It was as though the weight I had been carrying, fears, doubts, and unanswered questions, began to lift. My mind grew clearer, my heart lighter, and my spirit stronger. The same world I had woken up to that morning now looked different, not because it had changed, but because I had. These principles didn't just give me answers, they gave me freedom. But let me be clear, this wasn't magic. It wasn't about wishing for a better life and having it handed to me. It was about aligning my thoughts, emotions, and actions with divine truths that had always been there, waiting for me to see them. It was about stepping into the flow of the universe and trusting that the Creator's plan for me was good, even when I couldn't see the full picture. Do you ever feel as though you're standing at a crossroads, unsure of which path to take? Or perhaps you feel stuck, as though no path is visible at all. What if I told you that the path isn't something you find, it's something you create? What if I told you that the Creator has already equipped you with everything you need to transform your life? Not in a distant future, but now. The principles that changed my life are not hidden or exclusive. They are universal truths, accessible to anyone who is willing to embrace them. They are simple yet profound, timeless yet deeply personal. They are a reminder that no matter how lost or uncertain you may feel, there is always a way forward, a way that begins with belief. So, as you listen to this message, I invite you to open your heart and mind. These principles have the power to illuminate your path, just as they did mine. They are not abstract ideas, they are living truths, infused with the wisdom of the Creator, waiting to guide you toward the life you were destined to live. This is not just my story. It is an invitation for you to begin your own journey of transformation. Are you ready to discover the principles that can unlock your potential, ignite your faith, and align you with the divine flow of the universe? Are you ready to step into a life of purpose, peace, and abundance? If so, let us journey together. These 7 principles transformed my life in a single day, and I believe they have the power to transform yours. They are not just lessons, they are keys to a door you may not even know exists, a door that leads to the life you've always been searching for. Together, let us open it. First principle: the power of faith. Faith is the foundation upon which all transformation begins. It is not merely a concept or a fleeting emotion, it is the very essence of belief that bridges the gap between what is and what could be. Faith is the unseen force that calls you to rise above your fears, to trust in a power greater than yourself, and to step boldly into the life you were created to live. It is the cornerstone of every great miracle, every profound change, and every extraordinary breakthrough. The scriptures remind us, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. These words are more than poetry, they are a divine revelation of the creative power of belief. Faith is not bound by circumstances or limited by logic. It is the ability to see with spiritual eyes what your physical eyes cannot yet behold. It is the unwavering trust that the promises of the Creator are true, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, with waves crashing at your feet. In your hands is a seed, a tiny, seemingly insignificant object. Faith is the knowledge that within that seed lies the potential for a towering tree, one that will provide shade, fruit, and life for generations to come. Faith sees beyond the seed to the harvest, beyond the ocean to the horizon, and beyond the present to the future that has already been written by the Creator. When you walk in faith, you align yourself with the divine flow of the universe. You declare with your actions, your thoughts, and your words that you trust the Creator's plan for your life, even when you cannot see every step of the journey. Faith is not passive, it is active. It requires you to step forward, to move with intention, and to believe with every fiber of your being that what you desire is not only possible but inevitable when aligned with the will of God. But how do you cultivate such faith, especially when doubt and fear loom large? It begins with a choice, a decision to believe in the unseen and to trust in the infinite wisdom of the Creator. Faith does not require proof, it requires surrender. It asks you to release the need to control every detail and to rest in the assurance that the one who created you knows the desires of your heart and is working all things together for your good. Consider the story of Abraham, who was promised descendants as numerous as the stars. Despite his advanced age and Sarah's barrenness, Abraham chose to believe in the promise of God. His faith was not based on what he could see or understand, it was rooted in his trust in the Creator's ability to fulfill what he had spoken. Abraham's faith became the foundation of a covenant that continues to bless generations. His story reminds us that faith is not about the size of the promise, but about the greatness of the one who made it. Faith also requires action. It is not enough to simply believe, you must live as though your prayers have already been answered. This is the essence of the law of assumption, assuming the feeling of your desire fulfilled. When you act in faith, you align your energy, your thoughts, and your actions with the reality you seek to create. Faith is the bridge between the spiritual and the physical, the invisible and the visible. Think about Peter walking on water. When Jesus called him to step out of the boat, Peter's faith enabled him to do the impossible. For a moment he defied the laws of nature, walking on the very waves that threatened to consume him. But when he allowed doubt to creep in, he began to sink. This story is a powerful reminder that faith is not just about believing in the beginning. It is about sustaining that belief even when challenges arise. Faith is also deeply connected to gratitude. When you give thanks for what you have not yet seen, you demonstrate a trust that the Creator is already at work. Gratitude amplifies faith, shifting your focus from lack to abundance, from fear to trust. It is a declaration that you believe the promises of God are already fulfilled, even if they have not yet manifested in your physical reality. One of the most transformative aspects of faith is its ability to silence fear. Fear is a natural response to the unknown. But faith reminds you that the unknown is not a void, it is a canvas upon which the Creator is painting the masterpiece of your life. When you walk in faith, fear loses its power. It becomes a shadow, unable to withstand the light of your belief in the Creator's goodness. Faith also connects you to the divine timing of the universe. It teaches you patience and trust, reminding you that delays are not denials but preparations for something greater. Faith enables you to rest in the knowledge that the Creator's plans are perfect, even when they do not align with your own timeline. In embracing the power of faith, you step into your true identity as a co-creator with the divine. You are no longer a passive participant in your life, but an active partner in bringing your dreams to fruition. Faith transforms your perspective, allowing you to see challenges as opportunities, waiting as preparation, and setbacks as setups for something greater. When you choose faith, you choose to see the world not as it is, but as it could be. You choose to believe in miracles, in the goodness of the Creator, and in your own power to create a life of purpose and abundance. Faith is the key that unlocks the door to your transformation, the first step on a journey that will change your life in ways you cannot yet imagine. Second principle: the law of assumption. The law of assumption is one of the most transformative principles of faith, rooted in the belief that what you assume to be true in your mind will inevitably manifest in your reality. It is not merely a practice of wishful thinking, but a profound spiritual law that aligns your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the divine flow of the universe. This principle invites you to live as if your desires are already fulfilled, to embody the reality you seek, and to trust that the Creator is working with you to bring your vision to life. The scriptures remind us, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." This verse is not just a poetic reflection, but a declaration of the power of our assumptions. What you believe in your heart, what you hold as true in your mind, shapes your world. Your assumptions become the lens through which you see life, the foundation upon which your actions are built, and the energy that attracts or repels the circumstances around you. The law of assumption teaches us that we are not mere observers of life, but active participants in its creation. Imagine for a moment the life you dream of living. Picture it vividly in your mind, the relationships you desire, the accomplishments you long for, the peace and joy you crave. Now ask yourself, are you living as though that dream is already your reality? Or are you waiting for it to happen before you allow yourself to feel the emotions associated with it? The law of assumption challenges you to flip this dynamic. It calls you to step into the feeling of your desire fulfilled now, to act, think, and believe as if it is already done. Consider the story of the woman with the issue of blood in the Bible. For 12 years she suffered, seeking healing from countless physicians to no avail. Yet she assumed in her heart that if she could only touch the hem of Jesus' garment, she would be healed. Her assumption became her reality. As she reached out in faith, her healing was immediate. This story illustrates the power of embodying your belief, of living in the conviction that what you seek is already within your grasp. To live in accordance with the law of assumption, you must first identify the beliefs that govern your life. What assumptions are you carrying about yourself, your worth, and your potential? Are they aligned with the truth of who the Creator says you are? Or are they shaped by fear, doubt, and the limitations of the world? The scriptures declare, "You are fearfully and wonderfully made." When you align your assumptions with this divine truth, you step into the fullness of your identity as a child of God, capable of achieving and receiving all that you desire. The law of assumption also requires you to engage your imagination, a divine gift that allows you to see beyond the present and into the realm of possibilities. The imagination is not a place of escape. It is a sacred tool for creation. When you visualize your desires as though they are already realized, you activate the energy of faith within you. This is not a passive exercise, it is a spiritual act of aligning your thoughts with the Creator's promises. It is the act of seeing with the eyes of faith what your physical eyes cannot yet behold. Think of Abraham, who was called the father of many nations long before he had any children. He assumed the identity of that promise, walking in faith despite his circumstances. His assumption aligned him with the divine plan, and in time the promise was fulfilled. Abraham's story reminds us that the law of assumption is not about denying reality, it is about embracing a higher reality, the reality of the Creator's will for your life. To practice the law of assumption, begin by identifying your deepest desires and aligning them with divine purpose. Ask yourself, what would it feel like to already have what I seek? How would I think, act, and live if my dreams were already my reality? Allow those feelings to fill your heart and mind, and let them guide your actions. When you assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you create a vibration of faith that draws your desires closer to you. Prayer and gratitude are powerful eyes in this practice. When you pray, do so with the confidence that your prayers have already been answered. Thank the Creator not only for what you have, but also for what is on its way. Gratitude shifts your energy, reinforcing your assumption and aligning your heart with the abundance of the universe. It's important to remember that the law of assumption does not operate in isolation. It works hand in hand with trust and surrender. Once you assume the reality of your desires, release them into the hands of the Creator. Trust that divine timing will bring everything to fruition in its perfect season. Resist the urge to force outcomes or cling to specific timelines. The law of assumption is about faith, not control. Challenges may arise and doubts may creep in, but the law of assumption teaches us to persist in belief. When obstacles appear, they are not signs of failure but opportunities to deepen your faith. Just as a seed must break through the soil to grow, your assumptions may require perseverance to manifest fully. Hold fast to the vision in your heart and trust that the Creator is working behind the scenes. In practicing the law of assumption, you step into the role of co-creator with the divine. You declare with your thoughts and actions that you believe in the goodness of the Creator's plan and in your ability to align with it. This principle is not just a tool for achieving goals, it is a way of living in harmony with the Creator, trusting that your desires are a reflection of His will and that they are already being fulfilled. When you embrace the law of assumption, you transform not only your circumstances but also yourself. You become a vessel of faith, a beacon of trust, and a living testament to the power of belief. The life you dream of is not a distant possibility, it is a present reality waiting for you to assume it. Third principle, the gift of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most profound spiritual tools given to us by the Creator. It is not merely a polite acknowledgement of blessings, but a divine force that shifts the way we perceive and interact with the world. Gratitude transforms our hearts, renews our minds, and aligns our spirit with the abundance of the universe. It is the key that unlocks the storehouses of heaven, allowing us to see and experience the richness of life in ways that transcend our circumstances. The scriptures remind us, "In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God concerning you." This command is not a suggestion, it is an invitation to step into a life of abundance and joy. Gratitude is not contingent on what we have or do not have. It is a choice, a posture of the heart that acknowledges the goodness of the Creator in every season of life. Whether we are standing on the mountaintop or walking through the valley, gratitude connects us to the unchanging truth that God is good, faithful, and ever present. Consider for a moment the way gratitude changes your perspective. When you focus on what is lacking, your world feels small and limited. But when you turn your attention to what you have, your eyes are open to the abundance around you. The Creator has already given you breath in your lungs, the beauty of the natural world, and the capacity to dream and create. These are not small things, they are profound gifts that reflect His love and care for you. Gratitude is more than a feeling. It is a spiritual practice that transforms your energy and aligns you with divine blessings. When you give thanks, you are not only recognizing what you have, you are opening the door to receive more. Gratitude amplifies abundance because it shifts your focus from scarcity to plenty, from fear to trust, and from doubt to faith. It declares that you believe in the goodness of the Creator and that you trust His plan for your life. Think of the story of Jesus feeding the 5,000. With just 5 loaves and 2 fish, He gave thanks before performing the miracle of multiplication. His gratitude preceded the blessing, demonstrating a profound spiritual truth. When we give thanks for what we have, even when it seems insufficient, we create the conditions for divine abundance. Gratitude is not just a response to blessing, it is the catalyst for it. But how do we cultivate gratitude, especially in times of challenge or uncertainty? The first step is to recognize that gratitude is a choice. It is not dependent on circumstances, but on your willingness to see the hand of the Creator in your life. Begin each day by listing 3 things you are thankful for. They don't have to be grand or extraordinary. Sometimes the simplest blessings, like a smile at sunrise or a moment of peace, carry the greatest significance. By focusing on these gifts, you train your mind and heart to look for the good in every situation. Gratitude also requires humility. It is an acknowledgement that we are not self-sufficient, that every good thing we have comes from the Creator. The scriptures declare, every good and perfect gift is from above. When we recognize this truth, our gratitude becomes an act of worship, a way of honoring the one who sustains us and provides for us. It reminds us that we are deeply loved and cared for, even when life feels uncertain. One of the most powerful aspects of gratitude is its ability to transform trials into opportunities for growth. When we face difficulties, it is easy to focus on what we lack or what we've lost. But gratitude teaches us to look for the lessons and blessings hidden within our challenges. It reminds us that even in the darkest moments, the Creator is working all things together for our good. Gratitude shifts our perspective, allowing us to see trials not as punishments, but as preparations for greater things to come. Consider the story of Joseph, who was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for a crime he did not commit. Despite his suffering, Joseph remained faithful and thankful, trusting in the Creator's plan. In time, he was elevated to a position of great authority, and his hardships became the foundation for saving countless lives. Joseph's story reminds us that gratitude is not about denying pain. It is about trusting that the Creator's purpose is greater than our present circumstances. Gratitude is also deeply connected to faith. When you give thanks for what you have not yet seen, you are declaring your trust in the Creator's promises. This is the essence of gratitude as a spiritual practice. It is not just a reflection of what is, it is a declaration of what will be. Gratitude calls us to live in the reality of our desires fulfilled, to act as though the blessings we seek are already ours. This posture of thankfulness aligns our energy with the divine flow, drawing us closer to the life we dream of. Another way to cultivate gratitude is through service. When we give to others, we are reminded of how much we have to offer and how richly we have been blessed. Serving others with a grateful heart deepens our connection to the Creator and allows us to be vessels of His love and grace. It is a reminder that gratitude is not just about receiving, it is about giving, sharing, and multiplying the blessings we have been given. Gratitude is also a powerful antidote to fear and anxiety. When you focus on what you are thankful for, you shift your attention away from what you lack or fear. The scriptures remind us, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Gratitude quiets the noise of worry and fills your heart with peace, reminding you that the Creator is in control and that His plans for you are good. As you embrace the gift of gratitude, you will find that it transforms not only your circumstances but also your heart. It opens your eyes to the beauty of life, deepens your trust in the Creator, and aligns you with the abundance of the universe. Gratitude is not just a response to blessing, it is the foundation of a life lived in faith, love, and divine alignment. It is a gift that, when practiced, has the power to transform your life in a single day. Fourth principle, the principle of forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful and liberating principles given to us by the Creator. It is not just an act of releasing others from their wrongdoings. It is a divine key that unlocks the chains binding our own hearts. Forgiveness allows us to step out of the shadow of resentment, anger, and regret, and into the light of freedom, peace, and divine alignment. It is a transformative act that clears the path for blessings to flow into our lives. The scriptures remind us, "Forgive and you will be forgiven." These words are a sacred invitation to participate in the Creator's divine plan for healing and reconciliation. Forgiveness is not a sign of weakness, but a demonstration of strength. It requires us to rise above our pain and trust that the Creator is working all things together for our good. It is a choice to let go of the past and open ourselves to the possibilities of the future. At its core, forgiveness is an act of faith. When we forgive, we are declaring that we trust the Creator's justice and mercy more than our own. We release our desire for revenge or retribution, acknowledging that the one who created us is the ultimate arbiter of right and wrong. Forgiveness does not mean condoning injustice or excusing harm. It means surrendering the burden of judgment to the Creator and freeing ourselves from the weight of bitterness. Consider the story of Joseph, who was betrayed by his brothers and sold into slavery. Years later, when he rose to power in Egypt, Joseph had the opportunity to exact revenge. Instead, he chose forgiveness, saying, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." His decision not only reconciled him with his family, but also positioned him to fulfill his divine purpose. Joseph's story reminds us that forgiveness is not just about letting go of pain. It is about stepping into the greater plan the Creator has for our lives. Forgiveness is not always easy. The wounds we carry can run deep, and the pain of betrayal or injustice can feel overwhelming. But holding on to resentment does not protect us, it imprisons us. The longer we cling to bitterness, the more it festers, robbing us of our peace and clouding our ability to see the blessings around us. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is like a river that washes away the debris of anger and pain, leaving us renewed and refreshed. When we forgive, we align ourselves with the Creator's nature. The scriptures declare, "Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you." The Creator's forgiveness is boundless, offered freely to all who seek it. When we forgive, we mirror this divine grace, becoming vessels of love and compassion in a world that desperately needs it. But how do we forgive when the pain feels too great? The first step is to recognize that forgiveness is a choice, not a feeling. You do not have to wait until the anger or hurt subsides to forgive. Instead, make a conscious decision to release the burden of resentment, trusting that the Creator will bring healing in His time. Pray for the strength to forgive, asking the Creator to soften your heart and guide your steps. Forgiveness is also deeply connected to humility. It requires us to acknowledge our own imperfections and our own need for forgiveness. The scriptures remind us, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." When we recognize our own failings, it becomes easier to extend grace to others. Forgiveness is not about excusing harm. It is about recognizing our shared humanity and our shared dependence on the Creator's mercy. Another powerful aspect of forgiveness is its ability to heal relationships. When we hold on to grudges, we create barriers that separate us from others. Forgiveness breaks down these walls, creating space for reconciliation and growth. Even if the relationship cannot be restored, forgiveness allows us to release the negativity that binds us to the past. It frees us to move forward with love and peace in our hearts. Forgiveness is not just about others, it is also about ourselves. How often do we hold on to guilt, shame, or regret for mistakes we've made? The Creator's forgiveness is not limited to others, it extends to you as well. The scriptures declare, if we confess our sins, He is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. When we accept this forgiveness, we are freed from the weight of self-condemnation and empowered to live fully in the present. Gratitude is a powerful ally in the practice of forgiveness. When we focus on the blessings in our lives, we shift our perspective from what has been lost to what has been gained. Gratitude reminds us that the Creator's grace is sufficient, even in the face of pain and loss. It strengthens our faith and gives us the courage to let go of the past. Forgiveness also opens the door to divine blessings. When we release the bitterness and negativity in our hearts, we create space for the Creator's love and abundance to flow into our lives. The scriptures remind us, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain a mercy." Forgiveness is not just a gift we give to others, it is a gift we give to ourselves. It is an act of obedience that aligns us with the Creator's will and positions us to receive His favor. As you embrace the principle of forgiveness, you will find that it transforms not only your relationships but also your soul. It brings a peace that surpasses understanding, a freedom that lifts the burdens of the past, and a joy that comes from knowing you are walking in alignment with the Creator's purpose. Forgiveness is not a one-time act, it is a way of life, a reflection of the Creator's boundless love and mercy. It is the key to unlocking a life of peace, purpose, and profound transformation. Fifth principle: the art of visualization. Visualization is a sacred practice, a divine tool that allows us to connect with the Creator's vision for our lives and bring it into being. It is not merely an exercise of the imagination, it is a spiritual act that aligns our thoughts, emotions, and energy with the promises of God. When we visualize with faith, we engage in the process of creation, seeing not just what is but what could be, and trusting that the Creator is already at work bringing our desires to fruition. The scriptures remind us, "Write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it." This verse is a powerful testament to the importance of having a clear vision for our lives. A vision is more than a goal or a wish, it is a reflection of the Creator's purpose for us. Visualization takes this vision and makes it vivid, tangible, and alive in our hearts and minds. It is a way of stepping into the reality we desire, even before it has fully manifested in the physical world. Imagine for a moment the life you dream of, the relationships, the accomplishments, the peace, and the joy. Picture it vividly in your mind, as though it is already yours. How does it feel? What does it look like? Visualization calls you to hold that image in your heart and mind, to see it with the eyes of faith, and to trust that the Creator is guiding you toward it. This is not mere fantasy. It is a spiritual practice rooted in the belief that what we focus on expands, and what we hold in our hearts will ultimately shape our reality. Consider the story of the Israelites standing before the promised land. The Creator had already given it to them, but they were required to see it with the eyes of faith and move toward it. The spies sent to survey the land returned with conflicting reports. Some saw obstacles, while others saw opportunities. This story reminds us that how we see our future determines how we approach it. Visualization is the act of seeing the opportunities, not the obstacles, and moving forward in faith, trusting that the Creator has already made a way. Visualization is also deeply connected to faith. The scriptures declare, "Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." When we visualize, we are not simply daydreaming, we are engaging in an act of faith. We are declaring with our minds and hearts that what we hope for is not only possible but already in motion. Visualization bridges the gap between the spiritual and the physical, aligning our inner world with the reality we seek to create. To practice visualization, begin by creating a quiet space where you can connect with the Creator. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths, allowing your mind to settle and your heart to open. Picture the life you desire, not as a distant possibility but as a present reality. See yourself living in alignment with your dreams, experiencing the joy, peace, and fulfillment that come with them. The more vividly you can see this image, the more powerfully it will resonate within you. But visualization is not just about seeing, it is also about feeling. Emotions are a powerful force that amplify the energy of vision. As you visualize, allow yourself to feel the gratitude, excitement, and joy of living the life you desire. These emotions create a vibration of faith that aligns you with the Creator's blessings and draws your vision closer to reality. When you feel the emotions of your vision as though it has already come to pass, you activate the spiritual law of attraction, drawing your desires to you like a magnet. Prayer and gratitude are essential companions to visualization. As you visualize your desires, lift them up in prayer, asking the Creator for guidance and alignment. Thank Him not only for what you have, but also for what is on its way. Gratitude reinforces your faith and strengthens your connection to the Creator, reminding you that all good things come from Him. When you combine visualization with prayer and gratitude, you create a powerful spiritual practice that transforms your heart and mind. Visualization also requires persistence and patience. The vision you hold in your heart may not manifest overnight, but that does not mean it is not coming. The scriptures remind us, though it tarry, wait for it, it will surely come. Trust in the Creator's timing, knowing that delays are not denials, but opportunities for preparation and growth. Continue to visualize with faith, even when the path ahead seems uncertain, and trust that the Creator is working behind the scenes. One of the most powerful aspects of visualization is its ability to shift your mindset. When you focus on your vision, you begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You become more attuned to the signs and guidance the Creator places in your path. Visualization trains your mind to seek solutions, to act with confidence, and to move forward with purpose. It is not just a tool for achieving goals, it is a way of aligning your entire being with the Creator's plan. The story of Nehemiah offers a profound example of the power of visualization. Before he rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem, Nehemiah prayed, planned, and visualized the completed work. His vision gave him the strength and determination to overcome opposition and setbacks. Nehemiah's story reminds us that visualization is not passive, it is a preparation for action. It inspires us to take steps toward our dreams, trusting that the Creator is guiding our efforts. As you embrace the art of visualization, remember that it is not about controlling every detail of your future. It is about aligning your desires with the Creator's purpose and trusting that His plan for you is good. Visualization is a partnership with the divine, a way of co-creating a life that reflects the abundance, joy, and peace the Creator desires for you. Through visualization, you tap into the limitless potential within you and the infinite power of the Creator. You begin to see your life not as it is, but as it could be. And you step into the faith that transforms dreams into reality. The art of visualization is not just a practice, it is a spiritual journey that deepens your connection to the Creator and empowers you to live the life you were destined to live. Sixth principle: the strength of inspired action. Faith without action is incomplete. While belief and trust in the Creator lay the foundation for transformation, it is inspired action that bridges the gap between intention and manifestation. Inspired action is not about frantic effort or blind determination, it is about moving with purpose, clarity, and alignment with the divine flow of the universe. It is the tangible expression of faith, the outward step that demonstrates trust in the Creator's plan. The scriptures remind us faith without works is dead. This verse emphasizes that faith is not a passive state, but an active partnership with God. Inspired action does not stem from fear, desperation, or doubt. It arises from a deep connection to the Creator's guidance. It is an act of co-creation where we align our efforts with His will, trusting that every step we take is guided by divine wisdom. Imagine planting a seed in fertile soil. Faith is believing that the seed will grow into a thriving plant, but action is tending to the seed, watering it, nurturing it, and ensuring it receives sunlight. Without action, the seed cannot fulfill its potential. Similarly, inspired action is the nurturing of our dreams, the daily steps we take toward the life we desire, all while trusting that the Creator is orchestrating the outcomes. Consider the story of Noah, who was called by God to build an ark. The task was monumental, the circumstances unprecedented, yet Noah acted in obedience to the divine command. His faith was not confined to belief, it was demonstrated through his work. Every plank he placed, every nail he drove was an act of trust in the Creator's promise. Willingness to move forward even when the path is unclear. Inspired action begins with clarity. When you are clear about your desires and align them with the Creator's purpose, the steps you need to take become evident. Clarity is born from connection to the Creator through prayer, meditation, and reflection. Ask yourself, what is the next step I can take today to align my life with the vision the Creator has placed in my heart? Trust that the answer will come, often in the form of a gentle nudge, a sudden insight, or an open door. One of the most profound aspects of inspired action is its timing. The Creator's timing is perfect, and inspired action aligns us with this divine rhythm. It teaches us to move when the moment is right, neither rushing ahead in impatience nor hesitating in fear. The scriptures declare, to everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. Trusting in divine timing allows us to act with confidence, knowing that our steps are guided by the one who sees the whole picture. Think of Moses leading the Israelites out of Egypt. When they reached the Red Sea, it seemed like an impassable barrier. But Moses, inspired by God's command, stretched out his staff, and the waters parted. This act of obedience and trust turned an impossible situation into a miraculous deliverance. Moses' story reminds us that inspired action often requires stepping out in faith, even when we cannot see how things will unfold. Inspired action is also deeply connected to trust. It is not about forcing outcomes or striving in our own strength. It is about aligning with the Creator's will and allowing His power to work through us. The scriptures remind us, commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established. When we dedicate our efforts to God, we invite His blessings and guidance into everything we do. One of the keys to inspired action is listening. The Creator speaks to us in many ways, through our intuition, through the words of others, and through the circumstances around us. Inspired action requires us to be attuned to these messages, to discern what steps to take and when to take them. This requires quieting the noise of doubt and fear and opening ourselves to the Creator's whispers. It is important to remember that inspired action is not always dramatic or extraordinary. Sometimes it is as simple as making a phone call, writing a plan, or taking the first small step toward your goal. These seemingly mundane actions, when done in faith and alignment, carry profound significance. They are the building blocks of transformation, the outward expressions of an inward trust in the Creator's plan. Inspired action also requires perseverance. The journey to your dreams may not always be smooth, but challenges are not signs to give up. They are opportunities to strengthen your faith and commitment. The story of Nehemiah rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem is a testament to this truth. Faced with opposition and obstacles, Nehemiah persisted, trusting in God's guidance and completing the work despite the challenges. His determination reminds us that inspired action often requires resilience and faith in the face of adversity. Finally, inspired action is a declaration of belief. When you move toward your dreams with confidence and purpose, you are proclaiming to the Creator and to the universe that you trust in the fulfillment of your desires. It is a way of saying, I believe in the vision you have placed in my heart, and I am willing to take the steps to bring it to life. Through inspired action, you become an active participant in the Creator's plan. You align your efforts with His purpose, trusting that every step you take is divinely guided. Inspired action transforms your faith into reality, bridging the gap between where you are and where you are meant to be. It is not about striving in your own strength, but about partnering with the Creator to manifest a life of purpose, abundance, and joy. Every action taken in faith brings you closer to the vision that has been planted in your heart by the one who created you. Seventh principle, the guidance of divine timing. Divine timing is one of the most beautiful and challenging principles to embrace. It asks us to surrender our timelines, our impatience, and our need for control to the wisdom of the Creator. It reminds us that everything in life happens according to a perfect order, a rhythm that is far greater than we can comprehend. Trusting in divine timing allows us to relax into the assurance that our desires, dreams, and prayers will manifest when the time is right, not a moment too soon or too late. The scriptures declare, to everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. These words hold a profound truth. The Creator has ordained every moment of our lives with precision and care. There is a divine purpose in every delay, every waiting period, and every detour. While we may not always understand the reason behind the timing, we can trust that the Creator's plan is always for our highest good. Imagine a farmer planting seeds in the soil. He does not dig them up every day to check their progress. He trusts the natural process of growth. He understands that the seeds will sprout, blossom, and bear fruit in their season. Divine timing works in much the same way. The Creator has planted seeds of purpose and potential within you, and they are growing even when you cannot see them. Trusting in this process allows you to release the stress of forcing outcomes and embrace the peace that comes from knowing that everything is unfolding perfectly. But how does this trust in divine timing transform your life in a single day? The moment you choose to release your fears, doubts, and need for control, you step into a state of peace and alignment. It is not the external circumstances that change immediately, it is your inner world. You begin to see life through the lens of faith rather than fear, recognizing that every moment, even the waiting, is part of the Creator's plan. Consider the story of Sarah and Abraham, who were promised a child in their old age. Years passed without the promise being fulfilled, yet the delay was not a denial. The waiting period was a time of preparation, a season in which their faith was strengthened and their hearts made ready for the blessing to come. When Isaac was finally born, the timing was perfect, and the promise was fulfilled in a way that brought glory to God. Their story reminds us that divine timing often involves waiting, but that waiting is never wasted. Trusting in divine timing also allows us to release the burden of comparison. How often do we look at others' lives and feel as though we are falling behind? The truth is, your journey is uniquely yours, designed by the Creator with care and intention. The timing of your blessings will never look like someone else's because your purpose is uniquely your own. When you trust in divine timing, you stop measuring your progress against others and start embracing the beauty of your own path. To live in alignment with divine timing, begin by practicing patience. Patience is not passive. It is an active trust in the Creator's wisdom. When delays arise, instead of succumbing to frustration, ask yourself, what is the Creator teaching me in this moment? What can I learn or prepare for during this time? These questions shift your perspective from one of waiting to one of growth, allowing you to make the most of every season. Prayer is another essential tool for aligning with divine timing. In moments of doubt or impatience, turn to the Creator for guidance and reassurance. The scriptures remind us, "Be still and know that I am God." In stillness, we find the peace to surrender our timelines and the clarity to trust in the process. Through prayer, we align our hearts with the Creator's will, allowing His wisdom to guide our steps. Gratitude is also a powerful ally in trusting divine timing. When we give thanks for what we have, even while waiting for what is to come, we affirm our trust in the Creator's plan. Gratitude shifts our focus from lack to abundance, reminding us that every moment, even the waiting, is a gift. It creates an energy of faith that aligns us with the blessings already on their way. One of the most transformative aspects of trusting divine timing is the peace it brings. When you release the need to control every detail and instead trust that the Creator is orchestrating your life, you free yourself from stress and anxiety. This peace allows you to live fully in the present, knowing that the future is secure in the hands of the One who created you. Divine timing also teaches us to act when the moment is right. Trusting in divine timing does not mean sitting idle. It means being ready to move when the Creator opens a door. When opportunities arise, seize them with confidence, knowing that they are part of the divine plan. Inspired action, taken at the right time, aligns your efforts with the Creator's purpose and propels you forward in your journey. So how does trusting divine timing transform your life in a single day? It begins with a decision, the decision to let go of the need to control, to trust that the Creator's plan is perfect, and to embrace the peace that comes from surrender. In that single moment, your perspective shifts, your energy changes, and you step into alignment with the divine flow of the universe. The external circumstances of your life may not change immediately, but your inner world will, and that is where true transformation begins. When you trust in divine timing, you open yourself to the miracles the Creator has already prepared for you. You begin to see delays as blessings, waiting periods as opportunities, and setbacks as setups for something greater. You align yourself with the Creator's purpose, allowing His wisdom to guide your steps and His love to sustain you. In that alignment, your life is transformed not just in a single day, but in every moment moving forward. As we bring this journey to a close, let us pause and reflect on the profound truths we have uncovered. Each of these 7 principles, faith, assumption, gratitude, forgiveness, visualization, inspired action, and divine timing, are not just abstract ideas but divine gifts designed to align us with the Creator's purpose and unlock the life we were created to live. They remind us that transformation is not a distant possibility but a present reality, accessible at the moment we choose to believe, trust, and act in alignment with the divine plan. Life is not about striving endlessly or carrying the weight of uncertainty alone. It is about walking in partnership with the Creator, trusting that His wisdom, love, and timing are perfect. These principles teach us that our thoughts, actions, and faith shape the world around us. They empower us to move from a place of fear to one of confidence, from doubt to trust, and from waiting for life to happen to actively co-creating a life of meaning, joy, and abundance. As you leave here today, I invite you to take these principles into your heart and life. Reflect on the ways they can guide your thoughts, decisions, and actions. Begin with a single step, whether it's cultivating gratitude, embracing forgiveness, or trusting the Creator's timing, and watch as that step ripples out, creating transformation not just in a single day, but in every moment moving forward. Let this be the day you decide to align with the divine flow, to trust in the promises of the Creator, and to walk boldly into the life you've always dreamed of. The journey ahead is not one you walk alone. The Creator is with you, guiding, sustaining, and loving you every step of the way. May these principles light your path and inspire you to live a life of faith, purpose, and profound joy. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Go forward with trust, belief, and the assurance that the Creator's plans for you are greater than anything you could ever imagine. Keep believing, keep transforming, and keep shining. You are destined for greatness.